Jared, sorry for the feedback here, but I was just wondering when your injury, you thought it might be more serious, and when you decided to get your MRI, and do you know what are you still looking at your options, or have you decided what you're going to do with it?
I got hurt for Sacramento game, setting the screen. I was Corey Joseph, a defender, kind of hit my knee. I went down, grabbed my knee, but obviously getting up, checking it, squatting, playing the second half, a little stiffness, little inflammation. Obviously, go to the All-Star break. You think just time and rest might just heal it. Thought I was a bone bruise. After those 7 days, 8 days of icing, still having pain in it, coming back early and getting some treatment. And, they do kind of a test. And just me just having a sense of 14 years in the NBA, I've had, 3 or 4 different surgeries. You kind of know when something's off and certain movements. And wanted the MRI after the first practice we had at nighttime. I didn't practice, but there was just something wrong. And then I found the next day that I, obviously had a torn MCL. And most torn MCLs, you don't have surgery, to be honest with you. So for me right now, my mindset is not to have surgery, is to rehab, give my body 3-4 weeks to reassess in those 3-4 weeks of seeing how the ligament and how much does it grow back and how it start the healing process. But there's no things, that's off the table. But as my mindset now and going forward is not to have surgery. But I mean, let's just be honest, man. My value to this team is not playing. My playing days of contributing at a high level are done. There's times where I can still help on a minute base, as you saw this year a couple of times and even last year. But for the most part, my value is the locker room, the bus, the plane, film room, holding guys accountable in practice, habits, getting on guys, kind of like a coach. But the difference of me not being a coach is I'm in the locker room on a day-to-day, and there's certain things I can say to certain players that maybe a coach couldn't even do it. So that's what my value is, and that's why one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to get surgery right now is be out 4 to 6 months and be away from teams 6 to 8 weeks being at home. It's something that I'm not ready to do, and something that I feel like rehab can still be able to get me back to the same finish line, just a different time period.
Brad?
JD, even though you are injured and you won't be able to play, will your role change much? And how will it change, or will it be the same?
My role doesn't change in the sense of this. The only thing I would say it changes in this is I'm the guy, you guys wouldn't know this obviously from the outside looking in, is when someone gets hurt, let's say like Anthony Davis, last year was Rondo in the bubble, and you're trying to get them back to competition. I run the pickup games for the Lakers. So when you play, when you're trying to get back in shape, when you're trying to get more reps, let's say Kyle Kuzma hasn't played well in 2 games and he wants to stay after and play 4-on-4 or 5-on-5. I'm the guy who runs that. I'm the one who, hey, this is the bump. I'm the one who brings the energy in the sense of, all right, let's get AD some post-ups. Let's get Kuz moving, game type reps in practice. So that's my role when it comes to that. Also, we don't practice a lot. So in the film session, my role stays the same of speaking out when it needs to speak out to, obviously see during timeouts, film, on the bus, talking about it in the locker room, talking about your role, what we need from you, halftime. That doesn't change. So the only thing that really would change is in practice time, I'm not going to be on the court. I'm going to be, behind the scenes. I'm going to be out there, but I'm just not going to be on the basis where I'm actually inside, where we're playing 5-on-5, 3-on-3, getting guys ready.
Dave?
Jared, how'd the guys react to it? Obviously, you have close relationships with just about everybody in that locker room, and who knows what would happen in the future. Maybe you come back healthy and you're back playing next year. But was there any, condolences for where your career stands from the teammates?
Man, it was a total opposite, man. It was laughs. It was, it was, how did you get hurt? When was it? I thought it was just a knee bruise. Like, even when I had ice on the first day of practice after, like, how you gonna have ice on when you just had 7-8 days off? Listen, man, to be honest with you, they were just for shocked just because I know people probably wondering, he doesn't even play that much. How do you get hurt, man? When you don't play, you actually do more work, to be honest with you, more stuff behind the scenes to try to stay ready than the guys that actually play 30, 35 minutes. I know it might be hard to believe, but nah, man, listen, My goal is to rehab, to be able to come back, to be able to suit up, and eventually, hopefully, in a playoff series of us going to the finals and hopefully winning it, being a part of that. I'm someone that doesn't rely on my speed and athleticism. It's more IQ and mind, but my teammates obviously are. I'm like the class clown, but yet, the strict teacher. I'm all in one. So it's very unique what I bring. And so for them, they can joke around with me. We can laugh about it. I had a crutch yesterday. Now I'm in a knee brace, and now it's more laughs that go on, man. So it's all good sport. I understand it. I'm a good teammate, and then just have fun with it.
Dan?
It's not that I'm trying to get rid of you or anything like that, but knee surgery, at this stage, kind of what Dave was saying at your career, have you given any big picture thought as to what that might mean for you? And then I guess secondly, if you are going to be around this team and you're going to be rehabbing stuff, have you thought about trying to maybe get in some coaches meetings and getting a taste of that while you have this kind of opportunity?
Oh yeah, man, that's definitely a nice suggestion. I would say this: I've been a player, been thinking about my post-playing career since my second or third year in the league. I've obviously, real acquainted with you guys in the media. I've been on talk shows, TV shows. I've met with Adam Silver about GM programs. So when it comes down to it, I'm going to be fine life after basketball. I'm not willing to rush it. I play for the Lakers. I hang out with Bron and AD. We do team dinners. We won a championship. Why would I want to leave? We drink some of the best wine in the world. What's better life than I have than this right now? And to be honest with you, I know it might sound crazy. I have huge value. I saw a stat the other day, and it was one of the best stats I've seen, that Udonis Haslem has played, I think, 40 minutes in 4 years. People say how that can be. There's a reason why that is. It's because the respect level. It's a lot of different stuff that he has to handle that the coaching staff cannot handle. And I'm not saying when they can't handle, because it's a certain level of respect, a certain level of demand that a player has when you can hold the locker room. So for me, I always said to myself, I don't want an injury to push me out. Sometimes it can be old age, sometimes it can be just timing. And so my mindset is to be able to come back and hopefully win a championship and be back next year. But it's usually all in God's hand. And if not, I definitely have options.
To follow up, JD, real quick, besides too, that minimum deal is better than an assistant coaching contract, right? Like kind of what Udonis has got worked out in Miami.
For sure. Let's be honest, it definitely is. But when you switch over and you're on the front of the bus and you're in a different locker room, it changes. We got Jason Kidd. I tell you right now, Jay Kidd's relationship is phenomenal with LeBron James. It's not like my relationship. It's not like Anthony Davis. There's certain things that I could say to those two, that certain people been with them. I know good habits. I know bad habits. Now, Jay Kidd's a Hall of Famer. He could say pretty much anything. But to me, it's also your personality. I'm a very outgoing guy. I think I'm very honest and blunt, but I see on both ways of how you have to be. So that time will eventually come for me. If it's either the front office or it's on the bench. And so I want to use this Lakers experience as – it's huge. This experience is huge for me from a life after basketball, and knowing how to play against superstars and dealing with egos. And when you go on 3-4 game losing streaks, and how to handle the media and to see how it is in the locker room. I've been waiting for that being here in LA. And for one, it's just been true professionals of how it is. And you got to hold a lot of different egos. And I'll be ready for that when that time comes. But like I told you, it's the best job in the world. Why would I want to give it up?
All right, last two questions. Kyle with the follow-up, and then Kahari Jones will have the last question.
Hey, Jared. So this is a role that you played last year, and obviously before the pandemic, involved going out and having fun on the road a lot. Is this year, guys have talked about how kind of sequestered and locked down everything is in hotel rooms and at home. Do you feel like what you do chemistry-wise is more important this season than in a regular season to keep providing?
This role for me is very similar than last year, but it's harder because it's a different team. You're bringing a lot of different pieces together when it comes to Schroeder, Montrezl Harrell, guys that were huge roles in another team, and basically having them have to coexist and form chemistry with two of the best players on the planet. And so that takes time, that takes ups and downs when it comes to that peaks and valleys. And so that's for me to be able to, because sometimes Bron and AD won't point that out. And that's what I'm there for, is for me in the film. Like, listen, AD needs the ball in his pocket pass, Dennis. These are his sweet spots. Now, it could be in a nice way. It can be in a film. It's different ways, different players. And that's my job to judge it. So for me, I'm not going to say it's definitely harder in the sense of we're in a shorter time period. We don't have any practice levels. So film is huge when it comes to be able to get the team chemistry wise. And a lot of that bonding comes from playing cards. So if I can play cards and joke with you and take some of your money or take some of this, and then I could be able to tell you when you're messing up on defense because now we're cool and stuff like that, or drink a glass of wine with you you and me being 6 feet away with mask on and take it off anytime we sit and having good conversations, I can be able to tell you if you're not up on a pick and roll. And so you know that if I can do those certain things. So for me, it's I'm not gonna say it's more valuable. I'm saying there's certain organizations that put it high on their chart of wanting to bring back veteran players. You see it less and less, but we're a dying breed. And you see those ones that, that keep doing it, the James Jones of the world, those Jawan Howards, look at where they are now in life. They're GMs and head coaches being super successful in the next level.
Hey, what's going on, Jared? You wrote a book called Inside the NBA Bubble.
Did you buy it?
Not yet, but I'm looking.
Man, you didn't even buy it. You asked me the question, you didn't even buy it.
I'm about to, that's why I want to ask you about it. You know what I'm saying? They say it's called Inside the NBA Bubble. Did really well. A lot of people loved it. It was on billboards in New York City. Is that post your career? Is that something that you want to write about even this stage? How the value that you're bringing to the Lakers. Is that something that you want to continue to do? Is write books and things?
I would have never wrote a book. For one, how that came about. Amazon came to me. And I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't like an Amazon type backing, or it would have got the press. And you got to think about it like that book is not about me. Now, even though it's might say Inside the Bubble, it's about the years that the Lakers went through. And there'll never be a year like that. Let's just be honest with you, starting with Kobe's death. And to be able to have the experience of what the Lakers went through behind the scenes of telling you of players and what we had to go through when we were on the road, meetings behind the scene, on that plane flight. Then you go from China beforehand, then the pandemic, and now we're in a bubble. I mean, let's be honest with you, in my book, Inside the Bubble, you're going to have 30 for 30s, maybe even a movie about Inside the Bubble 20, 30 years from now when we're not wearing masks and people are back to normal life. And so people are intrigued about Disney World and what were you guys doing with it? Your families weren't allowed to come in, you're testing, and like, how was that? How'd you guys stay sane and what was going on? So, and then you had, obviously before then, it was George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the deaths, what was going on, the protests and players being in. You had the More Than a Vote campaign with Braun and outreach, and I talk about his school. It was a year that was as I told you, it was the best, worst year for us and for myself. And so having that, there'll never be a year. So I don't think I'll ever write a book again about that. And let's just be honest, it's only 42 pages. It's just enough just to get you started. So, but let me know if it's up for a Nobel Peace Prize. I know my ratings is crazy being with the Laker fans, but no, overall, man, this will be my last book. And I'm glad I did it. My son and my daughters listen to it all the time. For me to be able to have that legacy and pass it down, it was really cool.
You're well suited, JD.
Thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Thanks, Jared. I got the book, Jared.